Hi, good morning. My name is Yitzhak Sasson, and I want to share with you some thoughts today and actually verbalize them um, about the Seder. And one of the biggest mysteries I've always had and at the Seder is the idea of that we are reliving the situation. We are reliving the Yetziat Mitzrayim. We're reliving the the slavery to freedom experience. It's kind of brought in late at the in the Magid section, but you'd almost think like that would be like a pre-Kadesh idea that would be like announced or something like that. That we're going to go from slavery to freedom, and this is whatever. I mean, I've not heard. I've heard a number of explanations, or I've never heard anything that chimed with me that made it more of a palpable or realistic feeling of going from um, freedom, from slavery to freedom. But I'm going to suggest an idea that maybe it will help for you. Maybe it will help for me this time. I don't know. But it's an idea of your own actual slavery to your own actual freedom, or my own slavery to my own freedom. And as I was thinking about what I was going to say, I obviously wanted to have something to say, so I thought about things in my life that I have had um, enslaved to, or for lack of a better word, and keep it the spirit of the holiday, call it like that, be enslaved to, or just have habits or whatever the different things. Like one of the things was when I was young, I used to stutter, and thank God I am no longer in that situation. I do have problems occasionally with some words, but I no longer stutter as in general, and I have been released. I am free from that experience. It was a painful experience when I was young, and I'm very grateful that I no longer have that experience. Something on a different way is I used to smoke, and I really loved the routine. I wasn't a chemically addicted person, but I loved the routine, and I found that my legs were kind of going numb just by crossing my legs, and I knew that that was going to be a bad thing for me if I was going to keep smoking. So I'm very grateful, although I still would like to smoke after having a meal and waking up in the morning and before going to bed. I would definitely very much like to have those cigarettes, but I don't, and I'm very grateful that I do not do that anymore. It is a toxic habit to do. Um, yeah, and there are, there's 1,000 different ways to be enslaved. Some people have got bad situations, bad scenarios, bad bosses, bad landlords, bad this, bad that, bad in-laws. They might have bad thoughts. They might feel self-persecution. They might feel, I don't know, imposter syndrome. They might feel as though they're never good enough. They might feel that they're too arrogant. They might feel this. I mean, there's a zillion different ways that one can feel enslaved. Um, I think it's a good idea to, and I'm going to do this myself, to try to make a list of other types of enslavement that I have had and that I have been freed from, for lack of a better word, I guess, and try to keep those in mind as I go through the Seder, or at some point during the Seder, if I remember, which may or may not happen, and reflect on them. And maybe it will help. I don't know, but it's we have to find some sort of connection. I think that's the thing. We have to find some. We can't connect to something that happened thousands of years ago, and we haven't been. Yeah, I know we're oppressed or whatever the different things, but in general, our day-to-day life, we don't feel like slaves in the traditional sense. So maybe finding some areas in our lives that we did feel where we didn't have the freedom to do or be the person we wanted to be, which is essentially kind of like slavery, and coming out of that situation and in the liberation. Um, and I think, yeah, so that's it. I have nothing more to add. I sincerely hope you have a good, heartfelt Seder, one where you sincerely feel liberated from some sort of servitude, and you express your gratitude, and maybe you find some spots in Hallel where you really have a heartfelt experience saying them, and that we should all have a nice Seder. Bye-bye.